So you've lost your yogurt culture and you want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. This is what you can do. I have gone out and I have gotten just a high quality, nice, or get your regular yogurt from whatever kind of yogurt vendor you may have. Farmer's market, a nice higher end grocery store. You could even do a more basic grocery store with just a plain yogurt. I'm not sure how stable the lower end manufactured yogurts will be on the long term. But if you want something that can sustain a longer period of time and that has the ability to be preserved, then I would say go with a real farm-based yogurt. So I'm going to create two backups for my yogurt strain technically. So one set I'm going to freeze in just a regular plastic bag, and another one I am going to spread thin onto a kitchen towel that has been washed and rinse so that there is no detergent on it or anything that would kill the bacteria. You want to make sure that your sheet, that your whatever, you could do parchment paper, wax paper, you could do anything as long as this can be dried. I would recommend a kitchen towel just because it will allow air to pass through it easily and it'll be easier to spread it out. And then of course, make another batch of yogurt with this and create even more backups. So usually I like to have at least two of these in my freezer just in the back, but I moved, holiday season, I just lost it. It's fine, life happens, it's not the end of the world, but in order to make this easier, I'm going to try to preserve it so that it doesn't happen again. All right, so first things first, I'm just going to take my nice yogurt and I'm going to put it into a plastic bag to flatten out. And as you can tell, the color and quality of this yogurt is, I mean, it's just good French yogurt. And so here, we'll do about 4 of these. 2, 3, 4. Flatten it out. I've not closed this yet, but I'm just going to do one of these just to flatten it out so that when I go and I want a tablespoon of this, and then, all right, so now that I just have this out flat, I'm going to put this in the freezer after putting a label on it. Now it's just gonna go into the freezer like this. And once this is frozen, you can keep this as is to use if ever you need it as a backup, but you can also, once it's frozen, open it up, break it up into pieces. I would, since I did 4 spoonfuls and I do usually 1 full spoon per batch of yogurt, I would cut this into 4s just to have it portioned out, but you don't really need to. You can use your eyes and, you know, common sense in this area. For example, here is my skewer that I recently made a backup of, and all I would do is I would just break this up like this, just so that when I go back into it, oh, I broke the bag. Just so that when I go, look at that. So I'm going to take 1 square, and this would be enough for 3 liters of milk. This is about 1 tablespoon of yogurt that has been frozen. And I would just add this back into the milk when it is cooling down, and it will melt, it'll bring the temperature down, and the bacteria will come back alive. So let's get our 4 pieces, and I'm just going to break this up easily. Now, you might be thinking, Matthew, why in the world did you break that up? I do need to break it up because there were 4 tablespoons in here, and you need 1 tablespoon per 3 liters of milk, or 1 teaspoon per liter of milk when you're making yogurt. And if I were to add all of this, first of all, I'd be losing my backup, and I don't want that. Second of all, I want to be appropriate with how I'm dosing my fermentation strain, because too much is too much, and more is not better in the world of fermentation. You just need enough to inoculate, and then you're good to go. So I will add these to a new bag, and I can use them as I see fit for a future skyr fermentation. All right, so next I have a cheesecloth, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few spoonfuls of this, I'm going to try to get as much dry, so not the pure liquid, but I'm going to get the dry, and I'm going to just do 1, 2, we'll start with that, and I'm just going to spread it all over, And I'm just going to get a dry spread out. And I'm going to hang this up so that it creates yogurt flakes is what I call them. And once this is dried, I can flake it off and I can use it as a dry culture starter. And this is very easy. This is usually what people do when they are going to the grocery store to get a yogurt culture starter. So this is very easy, and I'm just going to try and get everything out. And this will take, oh, I don't know, it'll take a day to dry. But once it's all crispy, I will put it into a closed container, and I will not, or even just a baggie, and I will be all good. Now I am going to add a little bit more because you do want this to be enough for it to flake off and actually give you something to work with as you're spreading this out. I usually like to add like a first layer just to kind of get the kitchen towel wet so that this holds better. But I mean, guys, I'm just spreading yogurt out on a kitchen towel. It's very easy to do. Do this so that you have this. You don't want, I'm going to hang it up like this to dry. And because you want airflow on both ends. And then once this is dried, you're going to want to be able to flake it off by pulling at it. All right, so I have just a pants hanger and I'm just going to clip it on here. And you can hang it up in your kitchen if you have space to do this in, but just because it's, you're hanging up something wet to dry, I put mine in the bathroom just because it's easier for the airflow. And if it is dripping, it's just yogurt, so it's all good. All right, let's do a second one just because I'm doing it and I have the space for everything and I have enough yogurts. I've got a good amount. I'm not really good. I bought this yogurt with the intention of not necessarily eating it. I will eat it, but I need to have just 1 tablespoon so that I can create a yogurt culture because I'm going to make yogurt with this. But I'm going to make sure that I have 1 tablespoon for the yogurt that I make and then another tablespoon just in case I mess up and I need to go again. But this will be enough and I am going to be very happy with how this turns out. So let's just keep on spreading, and I will hang this up in the bathroom just because this is easy for me. You want somewhere that has good airflow. You could put this outside, but guys, I live in a French apartment, so in like the middle of the city, so that's not really an option for me. And I'll give you a visual of what I've done. It's not that hard. And number 2. All right, so as I pulled this up, this started pulling down and I just got a lot here. And all I'm going to do, just because my layer was probably a little bit thicker than it should be, I'm just gonna pull this out just to make this layer really super thin so that I'm not dripping yogurt and it's just drying on the kitchen towel / and this is a cheesecloth that I'm using. All right, so number 1, number 2, and as you can tell, it is dripping. And I've just put, you can tell it's raining, don't mind my washing machine, but this will drip dry for quite a while and I'll just check it periodically. All right, so we are next day, and as you can tell, this has dried solid. I will grab like a big mixing bowl and I will kind of crunch this off with like a scraper, and that way I can have a dried yogurt strain that I can keep long term. All right, so this is officially dried, and so I'm just going to show you my personal technique that I use to do this. If you want to do this, you could do this on like a cookie sheet as well. So this is not hard, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start peeling off. So I have clean hands, of course. You just start peeling off, and here are your little yogurt flakes, and it might take you a little bit of time, but I like to get like a crunch going on first, just to kind of have it release a little bit easier. And then eventually I might go in with like a pastry bench scraper to help make this a little bit easier. So as you can see here, I'm just pulling and helping it release. All right, so now I'm just gonna move over to more of a flat surface because I'm getting impatient. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing this with the right amount of pressure. And I'm trying to keep all of my yogurt flakes still in here because afterwards I'll pick up the towel and I will dump it into my mixing bowl. All right, so I have poured all of my yogurt flakes from my one towel, and this is the amount that I'm getting out of it, which is truly, it's not a lot, but so when you're going to use this as a way to reactivate your yogurt culture, I would err on the side of doing a little bit more than not enough. And so maybe I would do like this amount, which is like maybe a tablespoon for even like a liter of milk, or I would do maybe this entire thing for 3 liters of milk. But I would do a test batch with some of this before in a smaller container just to reactivate it and help it come back alive. And then once you have reactivated this, then with another yogurt batch with this reactivated, you would then use your already activated yogurt culture. So, and I will show that in a next video, of course. So that is one, and we're just going to move on to the next one, which is like this. I'm just gonna go at this one a little bit more aggressively. Bench scraper. And so the reason why I always crumple it up in the mixing bowl first is because I am having dried yogurt flakes kind of flying everywhere. And so I'm just going to try to be mindful about making sure that I'm not losing everything here. Scrape this up and then into the bowl and keep going. All right, so I have pulled all of my yogurt flakes off of my kitchen towels, cheesecloths, and this is about the amount that I am working with, which is to be expected. Now, to give you more context and maybe another technique of how to do this, you could also keep your yogurt flakes on your kitchen towel, and then if it were on this side, you would then fold it up this way, and you would fold it up into, like a tiny little ball, just to keep your yogurt culture inside. Then you would put this into a plastic baggie, and when you're ready to use it, you would then take this. So your milk has been heated up to 180 to pasteurize the milk to kill the competing microbes. And then you would cool it back down to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it's at 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you would then take this with its yogurt flakes still on it, and you would dunk the whole thing in that basin of warm milk that's ready to be inoculated with a yogurt culture. And you would just go in there and you would, with a whisk or with maybe like a wooden spoon, and you would just kind of scrape it off in there. And then when you're done, you would grab it, take it out, wring it out, because all you're trying to do is you're just trying to get that yogurt culture that you've preserved here into that milk. Now, maybe that batch of yogurt might not be I don't say your best, but it's more of a rustic way of doing it. But it does get the yogurt culture into the milk, and it will make a successful batch of yogurt. So that's just another technique in a way that you can do it. But because I want these cheesecloths, I use them all the time, I need them back. And so, I take my yogurt flakes, put them into, a mixing bowl, and then I'll put this into a plastic baggie for when I'm ready to reactivate them. And so please stay tuned, because in a next YouTube video, I'm going to show you how I reactivate my yogurt with these yogurt flakes to give you, proof that it works. So now all I'm going to do is label a baggie, yogurt culture, 2025, and put my dried yogurt in there. All right, and of course, just to be consistent, this does not need to go in the fridge or the freezer or anything. This is a dried culture, and this can go into your pantry or any other dry storage area. All right, so that has been how to preserve a yogurt culture. Now, I do want to say, please stay tuned for the next YouTube video on how I go about reactivating both the dried and frozen yogurt cultures alongside the actual live culture. And I will do that all in one video so that you can have the consistent full picture of how this actually works. And if this is in the future, you're watching this and I've already posted it, that link will be in the description. If not, please just stay tuned, and it is coming out soon with my next batch of yogurt. And I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you have found it to be helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, all that. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.